Hello, everyone, and welcome to the virtual project showcase for the Environmental Student Action Challenge. My name is Catherine Medinsky, and I am the coordinator of the Student Action Challenge and your MC today. I know that this is a very busy time of the year for students and teachers, especially with the challenges presented by COVID. So I would like to thank you all for taking the time to attend this event. We will be recording today's event to share with the teams who are unable to join us today and to post to the Student Action Challenge website. So before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that people are joining us today from all across what we call Alberta, which is the traditional and ancestral territory of many peoples, presently subject to Treaties 6, 7, and 8. This includes the Métis settlements and the 6 regions of the Métis Nation of Alberta within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. Please acknowledge with me the many First Nations and Métis people whose footsteps and gatherings have marked these lands for centuries. Let us honor and show respect to the elders, past, present, and future, and to all of the Indigenous peoples of the regions that we find ourselves in today. So today we will celebrate the great work of students across the province and share some of their environmental successes as part of the Environmental Student Action Challenge. We have several staff from the Ministry of Alberta Environment and Parks who are joining us today to hear more about the creative projects that you have undertaken and to celebrate your successes. We are also joined today by Bev Yee, Deputy Minister of Alberta Environment and Parks. And I would now like to invite Ali Hamodi from École Nouvelle Frontière to introduce the Deputy Minister, first in English and then in French. So go ahead, Ali.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ali Hamodi, and I'm a grade 11 student from École Nouvelle Frontière in Alberta. I would like to introduce Bev Yee, Deputy Minister of Alberta Environment and Parks. Deputy Minister Yee is passionate about both the environment and education. She has more than 20 years of experience with the government of Alberta and has been involved with initiatives such as Alberta's Water for Life strategy and Alberta's Clean Air strategy. Before joining the Alberta government, Deputy Minister Yee was a high school physics and biology teacher. J'aimerais vous présenter Madame Bev Yee, sous-ministre du ministère de l'Environnement et des Parcs de l'Alberta. Madame Yee est passionnée par l'environnement et l'éducation. Elle travaille pour le gouvernement de l'Alberta depuis 20 ans et a contribué à l'élaboration des stratégies de conservation de l'eau, Water for Life Strategy, et d'assainissement de l'air, Clean Air Strategy de l'Alberta. Avant de se joindre au gouvernement de l'Alberta, la sous-ministre a enseigné la physique et la biologie dans une école secondaire.
Merci beaucoup, Ali. Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. I'm honored to be here today to speak on behalf of the Honorable Jason Nixon, Minister of Environment and Parks. As Deputy Minister of Environment and Parks, it is part of my job to make sure our province's environmental conservation and protection efforts are met, while at the same time ensuring our outdoor recreation opportunities and economic prosperity can continue and can do that together. The job of environmental conservation and protection cannot be done by government alone. Our department works in partnership with people like you to tackle issues related to land, air, water, wildlife, and sustainable development. This year marks the 50th anniversary of Alberta Environment and Parks, and I'm so proud to be part of it. Since 1971, the department has been engaging with Albertans to better understand environmental challenges and to make sure our natural resources are managed with innovative and responsible approaches. That's a bit of background from my end, but this day is really about you. I'm pleased to join this celebration and learn about your accomplishments through the Environmental Student Action Challenge. Regardless of age, we all have a role to play in protecting our environment and conserving our natural resources. This year, the Environmental Student Action Challenge supported a total of 16 community-based projects, with more than 2,100 talented students working together to support the environment. That is an awesome achievement. I've heard nothing but great things about your innovative and inspiring projects. From building trails in Grand Prairie, to growing Indigenous plant gardens in Lacombe, to retrofitting golf carts with solar energy in New Mernum, you are making a difference in your communities. We are so fortunate to live in such a diverse and beautiful province, and we must ensure we conserve it so future generations can also enjoy it. We are also extremely fortunate to have young Albertans like yourselves who are committed to caring for our natural resources and biodiversity. Your projects demonstrate your commitment to the environment, to education, and to our society. That makes you part of our collective efforts to enhance and protect the province's environment. You have made important contributions, and you should feel very proud of that. And this has been quite a year. Recognizing that we face significant challenges over the last year, I also want to commend this year's students and teachers for their ability to adapt while still being fully engaged and determined. You were able to work on your projects, you were able to collaborate with community partners and local elders, and you created legacies for future students. Some people say that youth are the future, but you are actually our present and our future. Right now, you are contributing to ensure long-term prosperity of Alberta's economy, and you are contributing to ensuring the long-term health of our environment. On behalf of Alberta Environment and Parks, thank you for being part of the Environmental Student Action Challenge and for choosing to make a positive difference. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. And now I would like to share the locations of all of the different projects from across Alberta. So starting in the south, we had projects from Black Diamonds at Oilfield High School, from High River at Senator Riley Middle School, from Calgary at the Career and Technology Centre, Griffith Woods School, Hillhurst School, the Nitsudabi Learning Centre, and Queen Elizabeth High School, from Airdrie at A.E. Bowers Elementary School, and from Cochrane at Bow Valley High School. Moving north, we had projects from Lacombe at Lacombe Composite High School, from Edmonton at the Edmonton Christian Northeast School and the Filipino Language and Cultural Center of Edmonton, and from New Mirnam at the New Mirnam School. And even further north in the province, we had two projects from Grand Prairie at École Nouvelle Frontière and Peace Wapiti Academy. So now, without further delay, I would like to show a video that highlights some of these projects from across the province.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine and I coordinate Alberta Environment and Parks Environmental Student Action Challenge. This year, we awarded $15,000 to 16 student projects all across the province. These videos were created by the students and teachers who were involved in some of those projects. First up, we have a project by A.E. Bowers Elementary School. These grade 4 students created bat, bug, and bird houses to help create resilient ecosystems in their schoolyard.
We teamed up to make birdhouses and it was really fun. We're making bug habitats. We have leaves, sticks, so they can eat food and stay away from predators. Looking forward to creating some habitats for ladybugs. We're looking forward to building habitats for our school. We built a bat house.
I love how excited all of those students were about building all of those bird, bat, and bug houses. Now our next video is from high school students at New Mirnam. These students have been focusing on reducing their carbon footprint, and they've been learning about solar energy and even retrofitted a golf cart to run off of solar power.
I'm Lucas Dubald and I'm a grade 11 student at Newman School. And this is our renewable energy zero emissions vehicle, which was our project for the 2020 to 2021 school year, which we have worked on alongside our hydroponic system. As far as our goals, we wanted to create a renewable energy zero emissions vehicle that could run off of solar energy alone. Our motivation for making this grew from the need for a different type of transportation, which would minimize our carbon footprint here in Murnum in a way that could also benefit the community. We also explored the effectiveness of muscular power with a hamster to understand different types of energy consumption. A lithium-ion battery is mainly used in commercial electric vehicles such as Tesla, but we decided we would use lead-acid batteries, which can store a fair amount of energy for the price that we could attain. We discussed how much energy is stored in each battery and how much energy is required for the cart to run sufficiently. We also gathered information on solar panels and the charge controllers and the necessary voltage ratio compared to the system voltage. Lastly, we decided what parts of the original golf cart we would need to remanufacture and retrofit for the new and improved cart. The solar panels fit perfectly on the roof. We have begun taking the cart apart so we could have access to the frame so we can build from the bottom up. This is important because much of the cart was not in the best shape. We hope this project inspires change in other communities, both rural and urban. Our school has really enjoyed this project, and we look forward to finishing the other 6 carts and seeing them active here in town. We appreciate you choosing our school to give you an insight on the progress we've made in the past school year.
Wasn't that an awesome project? Our next video is from Nitsudabi Learning Center. Now, these students and teachers have been working to integrate Indigenous plants and knowledge into their outdoor spaces. Let's take a look.
My name is Ruby Kane, and I am helping coordinate the Environmental Student Action Challenge grant at Nitsudabi Learning Center, which is a preschool to grade 2 school in Calgary, Alberta for self-identified Indigenous learners. This year, we used the Environmental Student Action Challenge grant to help us enrich the learning experiences available for our students in each of these spaces, as well as capturing some of the beautiful learning they're able to do there. With the help of one of our kindergarten teachers, we are purchasing material to build a medicine drying rack so that when we harvest our medicines for smudge and medicines for ceremony, such as our sage, tobacco, and sweetgrass, we're able to dry the medicine in our school and involve students in that process and teachings. Another aspect of this grant is working with a local engraver to create a boulder marker for our Eagle Garden space, capturing the story of the space for community members and future students. We want to use this marker to preserve the learning and engage our community members. Another key aspect of our intention with this grant is to ensure that we can share the learning and learning opportunities with our community and with future students, as well as with the other school communities from the CBE and across Alberta. I was grateful for the opportunity to share the professional learning I prepared for the CBE with a number of interested schools who are also participating in the Environmental Student Action Challenge grant. Additionally, we will be printing outdoor QR codes to go in our garden spaces. We'll be able to link these codes to our school website or various other resources to allow teachers to let students explore the resources, do research, as well as post their own learning and share that with people who may be passing through. And finally, with any remaining funds, we plan to purchase additional plugs and seeds that we can put in our outdoor spaces to continue to enrich the biodiversity of local plant species that we have available for student learning. So from all of our students and staff for this grant, hi, thank you.
Isn't that an inspiring project? Next up, we have the students from Oilfield High School. Last year, their town challenged them to start thinking sustainably and to reduce their environmental impact. This year, they did just that. With the funding from the Environmental Student Action Challenge, they created gardens in their schoolyard.
Well, our project is unique because our students are leading the sustainability initiatives. And we are passionate about getting early exposure to the importance of growing food. Black Diamond is a huge agricultural area, and parents wanted the high school to have an agriculture options course available. Before this project started, our school was not doing any recycling of any kind. This project will also better prepare students for acceptance into agricultural-related post-secondary education.
Every school needs a garden like that one. Next up, we're going to hear from the students at Hillier School, and they really use their funding to integrate learning about renewable energy sources into their education.
Hi, we are from Room 5 at Hillier School. We decided that we wanted to get an alternative energy source in our school, so we wrote proposals to AEP for $1,000 and then we got the money. These are some of our class's energy generators.
Here we have some of our 3D printed mistakes.
During the process, we learned more about simple machines, measurement, and electricity. Some simple machines we used were pulleys, gears, wheels, and belt systems.
I had a lot of experience with batteries. When we were in the design process, we had to learn how to get the most energy out of our generators.
And here we have some of our most unique designs.
We also learned a lot about measuring when making our 3D printed designs, and I did a lot of estimating.
During the process, we learned more about simple machines, measurement, and electricity. We made lots of mistakes, but in the end it worked out, even with a short amount of time.
Before we wrote our proposals, we did research on solar panels so we knew how solar panels worked.
We didn't have enough money to buy and install solar panels on the roof, so we wrote proposals to the CBE to ask them to help us install solar panels. But we continued to raise more money to help pay for the solar panels. We needed to raise money, so we combined our proposals to the CBE into one and made a video that we sent to the parent council to ask them to help fundraise, but sadly they said no. We bought a 110-watt solar panel using the money we got from the AEP grant. We also wrote proposals to A+ for Energy for $5,000 to buy an alternative energy source.
Weren't those students inspiring? Next up, we have a project from the Filipino Language and Cultural School in Edmonton. So these students were learning from home this year, so they used their funding to take a project that they had started last year and bring it into the students' homes. They grew all sorts of different vegetables and food. Take a look. I love that those students and teachers were able to adapt to the challenges that COVID presented this year. So next up, we have the Epic Garden from Lacombe Composite High School. Now, students at this school, they created this great Indigenous garden, both to enhance learning at their school and to help the environment.
Hi, my name is Rika. I enjoy being a part of the Epic Garden project because it helps me learn more about the Indigenous plant.
My name is Jasmine. Epic Garden is going to help bring back those Indigenous plants that were here in Alberta. Hey everyone, I'm Harish. I enjoy being a part of the Epic Garden project because it allows me to make my voice be heard upon.
Hello, I'm Haley Ash, and I enjoy being a part of the Epic Garden because of the history that will be shared about Indigenous knowledge and their plants. One of the main benefits of the Indigenous Garden project is land reclamation, which is the restoration of land that has been degraded by human activities. The diverse species will provide ecovision with the opportunity to create a living seed bank for the 25 Indigenous plants. Ecovision students plan to create an educational sign similar to the picture on the right. These signs will include a QR code that will be linked to a website that has additional information and videos about Indigenous knowledge.
We hope to have the garden completed by next year. Next year, LCHS students can enroll in agriculture programs and community workshops will be offered.
Here is a summary of the 9 impacts of the Epic Garden. We will provide leadership skills. We will reintroduce 25 Indigenous plants on reclaimed land, share Indigenous, medicinal, and knowledge plants. We will enhance educational opportunities for students. We will improve the environment, improve water issues, and provide a beautiful landscape, create a peaceful environment, and collaborate with the community.
Those students and teachers at Lacombe Composite High School do some really inspiring work. Now, our last video today is from the Career and Technology Center. And these students really integrate environmental education into pretty much everything that they do at the school. Let's take a look.
Hello, my name is Rhett, and this is my environmental innovation project. The goal of the project is to develop a community garden that allows community members to grow their own food, even when the weather in Calgary looks like this. So we developed our own grow tent made of insulation, watering system, our lighting system, a heater, and different ways to grow plants so that community members would be able to be successful with growing plants even in a winter climate. However, we had some problems along the way. Our first of which was our electricity usage, and we noticed that the majority of electricity was being used by our heating system. To combat this, we decided we need to create a way to water the plants without entering the tent and letting all the heat out. At first, we were extremely unsuccessful, as you can see with this image, but later we developed some techniques, such as using different trays that would allow us to only water the plants once. For bigger plants, we needed to create an automatic watering system that would water them frequently. For this, we used different trays, one of which had holes and one of which didn't have holes, and we would let water drain into the one tray and then be absorbed up into the soil through the other. And we found some extreme success and grew multiple different types of plants very successfully. Now, we're currently experimenting with some new techniques, such as growing plants without soil. Although we are able to grow plants without soil, we are less successful and it is less productive. We're also creating how-to videos so that community members can see how we grow microgreens so they as well can be successful. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
And there you have it, a snapshot of the Environmental Student Action Challenge projects from 2020-2021. A huge thank you to all of the students and teachers who helped to make these projects a reality.
So thank you to all of those students and teachers who participated in those projects. And now a few of the students who participated in this year's challenge have some questions for you. So our first question comes from Rhett Johnson, who we just saw in the last video, a grade 11 student from the Career and Technology Center. And Rhett is wondering why there is a charge for a conservation fee in Kananaskis when there is currently logging going on in the same area, and do they pay for conservation?
Thank you, Rhett, for that great question. And you're talking about something that is very relevant to us right now. And while the fee is new here in Alberta, there are many other provinces and the federal government included that use fees to help assist with sustainability of our parks. Our fee is specifically directed at conservation activities. whether that's to support wildlife in the park, or whether it's to support maintaining the environment, maintaining trails, providing services to the visitors, keeping visitors safe. And one thing I want to point out is that this last year really showed us how much interest there is for Albertans to be out and about in our parks. Our visitation in K Country was at about 5.3 million this last season. Ordinarily, we would get about 3 million people a year. So you can imagine having over 2 million more people in the park, the kind of impact that they would have. So you've rightly pointed out that in Kananaskis country, we also have forestry activity. And that's what makes K Country very special. There are parts of it that are also multi-use. Those forest companies are subject to strict rules and requirements, and they must practice forestry in a sustainable way. And in fact, the logging of trees is intended to mimic what fire would actually do on the landscape. So it helps to bring back some diversity on the landscape. And of course, after companies have logged those trees, they must also replant and ensure that the trees are regenerated. And in fact, as it relates to fees, those companies also provide timber dues or timber fees. And we use those fees partly for research and to support other kinds of activities. So the Kananaskis Country Conservation Fee is intended to do a similar thing to support all areas of Kananaskis Country so that we can maintain it for the future.
Thank you, Bev. Thanks for that comprehensive answer there. Now our next question is from the grade 4-5 class at Hillier School, and this is a 3-part question. So they would like to know what you think is the most important protected park in Alberta. How do we protect our parks, and how can we play a role in park protection?
Well, thank you. That's a great 3-part question. And probably the hardest part is that very first one in terms of what I think is the most important protected park in the province. We just have so many great destinations. So it's really hard to pick one that is most important. And some of them are protecting unique landscapes. Some of them are protecting cultural values. Some of them just have some great opportunities for recreation. And off the top of my mind, you know, things that come to mind, Dinosaur Provincial Park near Drumheller. It's a wonderful place to see badlands. And as many of you will know, lots of dinosaur fossils can be found there as well. I also think if we go further south in the province, there's Writing on Stone Provincial Park. And this park, in this area, this is sacred, a very sacred area for Blackfoot people. And there you can find all kinds of rock carvings and paintings, or I properly call petroglyphs and pictographs. And so there's important cultural value there. And then as I think about going further north, the William A. Switzer Provincial Park is another one that stands out for me. It's in the area between Hinton and Grand Cache, along the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, and just amazing opportunities for all different kinds of recreation. So it's tough for me to pick one, and there's many more outside of that are also important. In terms of the second part of your question about how do we protect our parks, and really the answer here is not only do my staff have a responsibility to protect the parks, but all of us as users of our parks have a responsibility. And some of the things that we really promote for people in asking them to be more responsible, and I'll give you a couple examples. One is pack whatever you take in, pack it right back out. Don't leave garbage, don't leave other kinds of things there. Try to leave nothing behind and minimize the kind of footprint that you have. And that really came to light this last summer when we saw so many areas where people were inappropriately leaving garbage. That's a risk, that's a safety risk too, because it attracts wildlife. So really, let's remember, whatever you pack in, pack it right back out. And then other things, we often say to people who are using our landscape with motorized vehicles, make sure you keep the wheels out of the water. You don't want to get into streams that are important habitat, and you don't want to destroy habitat. So keep the wheels out of the water. And then if you are in water with watercraft, make sure when you pull them out, clean them off, dry them off, so that we're not transferring invasive species to other bodies of water. So that's just a few examples of how we can better protect. And the last question, I think, how can we play a role in park protection? Share those messages, help us out, help others to be responsible. Others may be not as familiar with spending time in the outdoors, and if you have spent a lot of time and you know how to do that responsibly, make sure you share that message with others.
Awesome, thank you, Bev. And now our next question is also from the 4-5 class at Hillier School. And they're wondering, when is the best time of the year to reintroduce at-risk species?
What another great question. Thank you for that. And there's no quick answer for that, because it really depends on the species. And I've got biologists in the department that understand different species, and they make sure that if animals are being released back into the environment, that they're evaluating and making sure that they're following the right kind of path that is right for that particular species. But generally, wildlife are released in the spring. And the reason why spring is usually the best time, is that's when food is very abundant, the weather conditions are favorable for wildlife. So it's really a good time to release. Compared to if we look at winter, winter can be tough for a lot of species. And as winter approaches, as they get ready for winter, really they are starting to store food, fatten up for hibernation if there's species that hibernate. And so that poses some different challenges. So overall, generally, it is spring that is the best time of year.
Awesome. Thank you, Bev. Yeah, that was a tricky question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our final question today is from the EcoVision students at Lacombe Composite High School, and they are wondering what the Alberta government is doing to support environmental education in Alberta schools.
Well, thank you for that question. Obviously, one of the things is this very program that we have, the Environmental Student Action Challenge. I think this is an educational way to learn about the environment, but it's also fun. And you can see from the video that it created a lot of connection between students and their community, and that's very positive. The other thing is actually in our formal school curriculum, both in the science curriculum and the social studies curriculum, there are lots of elements of learning about the environment. At different grade levels, you're going to learn different things. Some of them we're learning about wetlands, learning about recycling, learning about energy and the impact on the environment, learning about climate change. So we've got all those opportunities in our current school curriculum. And as you know, curriculum is undergoing change. And but what hasn't changed is the importance of having environmental topics in the new curriculum. So watch for that. You'll see that there are, in particular, for example, climate change is integrated into a lot of areas in the new school curriculum, and there'll be other environmental topics as well. Two other things I might mention is our department has been very supportive of organizations that provide professional development for teachers. And we provide grant funding, we participate in some of the field activities, helping your teachers learn more about the environment so that they feel better equipped to teach about the environment. And the last thing, there are some facilities that we operate in the department, and I'll just point to one in Calgary. It's called the Bow Habitat Station at the Sam Livingston Fish Hatchery. And it's a fabulous facility. If you haven't had a chance to visit, summer's coming, make sure that you find some time to, if you don't live in Calgary, make a trip to Calgary and check out Bow Habitat Station and learn about our fish species here in Alberta, learn about our aquatic ecosystems. And if you're lucky, you might even be able to get a behind the scenes visit into the fish hatchery and feed some of those fish that we stock in our Alberta lakes. Thanks, Catherine.
Yeah, no, thank you, Bev. And I have to say I'm biased towards Bow Habitat Station since that's usually where I work out of. So hopefully we'll see some of those students come in and visit, feed those fish. So with that, I guess I would like to thank you all again for your dedication to Alberta's environment, and thank you, Deputy Minister Bev Yee, for joining us here today. Congratulations for all of the students and teachers on the successes of your projects this year, and I really look forward to seeing the applications that are submitted to the program again next year. So have a good Environment Week, everybody, and I will now end the session.